Power Automate Workflow Examples, 10 Real Business Use Cases with Setup Steps. Welcome back. Today's topic is Power Automate Workflow Examples, 10 Real Business Use Cases with Setup Steps. We'll cover what you actually need to know about Power Automate Workflow Examples. Now, let's talk about what makes Power Automate Workflow Examples worth following. Most tutorials stop at when a file is uploaded, send an email. That's a starting point, not a business solution. The flows that actually change how a company operates involve multi-step approval routing, error handling and retry logic for external API calls, dataverse integration for structured data storage, and cross-system coordination across Outlook, Teams, Dynamics 365, and SharePoint. The difference between a working demo and a production flow usually comes down to exception handling and data mapping. Both take longer than the happy path, and both are where most self-built solutions eventually break. A logistics company running 400 shipment exceptions per week, where each exception requires a coordinator to email a carrier and update a spreadsheet, is looking at 15 to 20 hours of coordinator time every week. One well-built Power Automate flow with a team's adaptive card approval cuts that to about 3 hours. The math works, but only if the flow handles edge cases without manual intervention. Partial automation that still requires human cleanup often costs more than no automation at all. Now, moving on to 10 Power Automate workflow examples with setup steps. Trigger, a new hire record created in Dataverse or synced from an HR system. What it does, creates the user account in Azure AD, provisions Microsoft 365 licenses, assigns SharePoint site access, and sends a welcome email sequence on days 1, 7, and 30. Setup steps. Now, next up, how Power Platform Governance secures your Power Automate workflows. 10 workflows running in production is a good outcome. 10 workflows running without Power Platform Governance is a compliance problem waiting to surface at the worst possible time. Power Platform Governance prevents shadow IT through DLP policies, environment strategies, and approval workflows. Without it, business users build flows in personal default environments, connect to unsanctioned external services, and create data pipelines that IT can't see, audit, or shut down when someone leaves the company. Shadow IT on Power Platform is not the same as shadow IT on a consumer SaaS tool. A business user signing up for a free project management app is annoying but containable. A Power Automate flow that exports customer contact data to a personal OneDrive via an unblocked connector is a data breach with an audit trail leading directly back to your tenant. Next up, now, Power Apps Canvas versus Model-Driven, choosing the right foundation. The Power Apps Canvas versus Model-Driven question comes up in almost every engagement. Canvas apps give you pixel-level control over the interface. Model-driven apps give you a structured, data-first framework that handles navigation, forms, views, and security roles automatically. Which one to use depends on your use case. Canvas apps are the right choice when you need a highly customized interface that doesn't match standard Dataverse form layouts, when users are on mobile and need a screen designed specifically for small displays, or when you're building a focused single-task tool like a delivery confirmation form or field inspection app. Custom Power Apps development for Canvas scenarios typically takes 2 to 6 weeks to reach production, depending on data source complexity and business rule count. For a tightly scoped requirement with a clean data model, the timeline compresses significantly. We built a leave management Canvas app in 3 days for a client with a clear specification and existing Dataverse data. Now, next up, what a Power Platform development company actually delivers. Working with a Power Platform development company covers more than getting individual flows built. A realistic engagement scope includes requirements discovery and process mapping, environment strategy and DLP policy configuration, flow and app development with proper solution packaging, Power Platform ALM setup for ongoing deployments, and handover documentation with enough detail for your internal team to maintain what was built. A Power Automate consulting engagement for a mid-size company typically starts with a 2-week discovery sprint to map current manual processes, rank automation candidates by ROI and complexity, and define governance baselines before any code is written. Delivery then runs in 2 to 3 week sprints per workflow cluster. The biggest scope variable is integration complexity. Flows that stay inside Microsoft 365 move quickly. Flows that call external REST APIs, require custom connectors, or reach into on-premises systems via a data gateway take 3-5x longer and need more careful error handling design. Now, building a Power Platform Center of Excellence. A Power Platform Center of Excellence is the organizational structure that makes large-scale automation sustainable. Without one, good automation exists in silos while other parts of the organization build ungoverned flows that eventually create compliance or data quality problems. A well-run Power Platform Center of Excellence defines the environment strategy, owns the DLP policies, provides a review process for flows touching sensitive data, maintains a training program for citizen developers, and tracks adoption and cost metrics across the tenant. The Microsoft Power Platform COE Starter Kit provides pre-built flows, Power Apps admin tools, and Power BI dashboards that inventory everything running across the tenant. It answers the questions COE teams get asked most often: who owns this flow, when was it last run, which connectors does it use, and is the owner still employed here? Now, moving on to conclusion. Power Automate workflow examples matter most when they show you the parts that are easy to underestimate: exception handling, data mapping constraints, and the governance structure that keeps flows reliable over time, not just on launch day. The 10 use cases here cover the patterns that come up most often across healthcare, banking, logistics, and SaaS implementations. If you're deciding where to start, focus on workflows that combine high manual effort with predictable process steps. Invoice processing, help desk triage, and employee onboarding are good entry points. KYC and compliance incident reporting have higher ROI but require careful governance design from the start, because the audit requirements mean the flow itself becomes part of your compliance documentation. For organizations ready to move beyond individual flows into a governed, scalable practice, our Power Automate consulting team can help scope what that looks like for your specific environment. Start with a conversation about where manual processes are costing the most time, and work backward from there.